Right. Good morning to you all. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, gives me great honor to share some reflections in this COP on implementation. This COP that has today the approaches to practical solutions, connecting that to cities and local community support for the implementation. And before proceeding, I'd like to recognize, of course, the real champions behind the scene, the Egyptian government, the ministers responsible for preparing the ground for this very constructive dialogue, and the opportunity that were availed to all to exchange their views freely. I'd like to recognize as well His Excellency, the Minister of Local Development, and the Minister of Housing, Minister Asim Al-Ghazzar, and of course, and it's great that our able moderator gave a good opportunity to His Excellency, the Governor of South Sinai, His Excellency General Khalid Fouda. And I just like to summarize what I heard yesterday from friends from Egypt and developing economies. You made us all proud. Thank you so much for doing a great job. And for the guests of this country, I think they are all impressed. So again, thank you so much. All right, so to the practice of what we should be embarking on when it comes to the implementation. Cities, local communities are in the center of all of the aspects related to mitigation. Cities contribute to emissions, but cities are impacted heavily by the deterioration in climate and the environment. When it comes to resilience, cities should invest more on infrastructure, and I'm happy to see the Sharm el-Sheikh adaptation agenda focusing on opportunities for cities and local communities to contribute to the solutions. Yes, the adaptation agenda starts with food security, but without food security, cities cannot really be sustained. They are part of the supply chain. Water management systems, it's again not just about rural areas or semi-urban areas, but about cities. But more directly on human settlement systems, on oceans and coastal systems, because the majorities of population around the world are living in mega cities in coastal areas, as we listen carefully as well from representatives from Auckland and from Morocco. Infrastructure systems require investments, cross-cutting planning across not just the central level, but to the local community, and the elephant in the room, cross-cutting finance. We are suffering today from a global financial system that makes finance available for development and climate, and there is no contradiction between the two. Those who hijack the climate action agenda with a reductionist approach to consider it only about cutting emissions, as important as it is not about the whole thing. We need to invest in resilience, and we need to compensate those who have been affected badly by the deterioration of climate change, including the recognition that we should be providing more than the symbolic gestures and words of sympathy in the loss and damage file. This needs to change, and we hope in the coming hours we'll be hearing substantive implementation to the work going forward. On finance, we have specific proposals. The 100 billion has never come in full, and now we know that they are only a fraction of what's required, less than 10% of external finance, those 100 billion. We need at least $1 trillion. Cities, mayors, governors are with keen interest in this for that to change, because they take the bulk of financing when it comes to resilience and infrastructure. The second part, we cannot rely forever on debt instruments. This needs to change by having Debt reduction mechanisms, I'm happy to see debt swaps are being put in place. I commend the work that had been starting with Seychelles, Belize, Barbados, and I'm happy as well by the recent announcements from the Minister of International Cooperation of Egypt that this area of work, debt reduction mechanisms, and linking the work to climate finance and nature finance is being considered. This is a very important area of work. Cities will benefit directly as well from the carbon credit markets. For the first time, Africa will have a voluntary credit market linking the work in areas related to forests, but indeed getting the trading to involve cities and local communities. And one final thing before our moderator gives me a warning of the seconds left. One practical area of the work. Yes, we are talking about the partnership with the private sector. In the race to zero, the race to resilience, and I'm happy with very good references to partnerships, especially in the race to resilience, as mentioned by the representative from Auckland, including the work on local governments for sustainability, ECLE. But we have as well other partners, C40, CDP, WRI, that all need finance. One simple proposal, and I know beyond your cities and local communities, you have influence. We cannot continue with the system of finance as it is with us today. Yes, mobilize domestic resource mobilization, fantastic. Get some partners from the private sector, very much required. But without fixing the multilateral development finance system, when it comes to climate finance and development finance for low-income countries and low-middle-income countries like Egypt, will not really go in the progress path that we wish to have. So the proposal is simple. Maximum cost should not exceed 1%, grace period 10 years, and payback period for 20 years after the grace period. These are basically simple elements supported by the good work by Maya Motley, supported by the good research of Professor Jeff Sachs, and the recent report commissioned by COP27 and COP26 for advancing knowledge on how to finance the sustainability at large, including the work by Nick Stern and Veres Songwe and others. We need your voice behind us when it comes to finance. Cities cannot just sit dealing with matters as given. They are the hosts of the dwellers of this world. They are more exposed to the trouble, and they need to have their voices heard, including at the global finance level. Thank you so much.